Welcome back, everyone. It's Key of W playing Neyyah. We have just turned on all the portals that we can, so now we're able to freely roam Felitsu Island as well as all the other major areas of the game. And so I left the Paita factory and I've arrived at a new place, which is called Felitsu Island, which is called the Harbor Zone. So this is the portal we've entered from. It's very nice. The game tells us our starting location. There's a lot of other portals here. There's a portal there, and there, and there. There's an old beacon cave and a Liriti gun tower. We read about those last time. I'm going to check out the Liriti gun tower in just a minute here. But I'm actually not going to do all the Harbor Zone stuff today. Just because I want to do some other things. We will come back here and explore more thoroughly. But we have old binocular towers and a diverter tower, which are important later. Harbor bridge and a pond area. We can go back this way to the watchtower, which is connected to its own portal via a path, something like that. Old guard tower area here, which is gone. There's no longer the old guard tower. It's been teleported away. Although the book said it was, or the note said it was teleported away from the Glorfiak mines. We're not anywhere near Glorfiak mines, so this could be something else. Harbor gate, a cart area, and two more portals connected to something there. And finally, the Ilapolite shield, which we read about at Glorfiak mines, a way to activate those using Galorcraft, which would fly out here and do a thing. Probably before the Felitsu Island was split up. Because the note from Smallax said that Vamir split Felitsu Island into multiple. He teleported the zones away from each other, which is why we have to walk through portals. So back in the day, the Harbor Zone was connected to Glorfiak mines, and so the Galorcraft wouldn't have to travel a very long distance. And in fact, it's possible that Glorfiak mines was just right over here, and the old guard tower was connecting to it. But there is no way to know because, alas, the places have been teleported apart. So there's your gun tower. This here, I believe, is the Ilapolite shield. Yeah, because there's no other tower this way. That's the watchtower over there. Yeah, let's take a look around. We can actually look at this plaque above the door. This plaque is not interactable, but there's another plaque on the other side which is, which if we remember from Vermeer's journal is the location of a Pelska portal symbol. So the game says we can look at any of them, but only one of them is going to give us anything. And this is Darth Vader's house. Seriously though, there's just some breathing going on. We can find it by, can we look down? Yeah, we can look. There is a bird down there. That in particular is the Nylaxium bird, the flightless bird, which is apparently a pest. This guy's sedated, just kind of lying there. And funnily enough, he's going to be lying there the whole game. This poor bird is sedated. However long it takes me to beat the game, he's just lying there, breathing very, very heavily. When I first played, I thought there must be a puzzle to do with the bird. We got to rescue the bird or something. No, this is just an area where Nylaxiums come and get sedated. I don't know. Oop, I don't want to go that way. That's back where we came. Let's head through this door here. And we can see a light. So look at where my cursor is. There's light here. The rest of the place is dark. That's our hint that there's an exit right around to the left, because if I walk straight in, you can't see that exit. If we were to come in from the other side, we'd see it. Just like there's a sneakily hidden doorway here. It's hard to see. I definitely missed it for a long time, but you can go here. And in fact, I am going to go here. Let's start off by going this way, because this leads to another portal. And this portal takes us to the Dome Zone. And in fact, it is the portal that we couldn't reach last time. This pathway leads to the elevator that we have read about as defunct. This elevator doesn't work. Yep. The button mechanism isn't here. It is out of commission. It's another case where it looks like, oh, there must be a puzzle to restore this elevator. There is not. We will have to find a different way up. This is one of those double-edged sword things about Neyyah, is that there's a lot of history to the game. Like, a lot of stuff happened before we came to Neyyah, and it happened for reasons that aren't related to us arriving on Neyyah, which gives you lots of realism points, but it also means that it's a little bit harder to tell what things are puzzle relevant and what things are not. You know what I mean? In fact, on this one, there's a button missing at an elevator outside the dome. It seems non-functioning. Has it been tampered with deliberately? Is Vermeer involved at all? So this being in our journal may make us think there must be a way to fix this. There is not. So the reason I say double-edged sword is because on one hand, I do kind of like that this game is not afraid to include unnecessary detail. Like, video games tend to be very, very sparse with their details. That, like, the law of conservation of detail, as TV tropes would put it, where works of art tend to not include details that aren't directly relevant to the story, and video games tend to be the leanest. No, I think musical theater is the leanest, but video games tend to be pretty lean. You don't want to include details that are unnecessary because players will think they're necessary and they'll get stuck. But when you do that, while the gameplay works really fine, story tends to suffer because it makes no sense for a world, especially a world like Neyyah, to have every single piece of information be specifically relevant to me. So adding stuff like this with the story, like Vermeer removed this, Small X approved it because the elevator wasn't working because of the creepers, which is a plant that's growing up because the plant is taking over the Relidia metal. Like, it's a whole lore reason why this button isn't here. But savvy puzzle players will assume that this is a puzzle. Because it's included in the game, it must be relevant. It is not. So while I do appreciate it and like it, I also kind of dislike it because it made me think I had to do something and I got stuck on something that was a completely unnecessary use of my time. So just so you know, this game is just like this. This is just what the game is like, and I respect it even when it really frustrates me. Alright, we're back. That was all we could do there. That portal over there does not look like a Binoxi Eye portal or a Pelorian portal. That is something else entirely. Let's take a look. That is this portal right here, right? So I'm looking out, I'm looking at that portal. The reason I know it's not this portal is that's this portal there. That's a Binoxi Eye portal. That is something else. Neither of them seem to be connected to a pathway. I'm looking at that pathway. That's a pathway. But I can't see a pathway. I see a thing, but that doesn't look like a path. It doesn't have a railing. Which is interesting. Which could mean nothing. We also have some kind of mural here. I don't know. It's made of stone and metal. Looks like a thing of the Elapolite Tower, maybe? I don't know if that's the Elapolite Tower. That doesn't look like it. It's some kind of tower. We've got a minecart here. And table, we've got that symbol, that all four triangles put together, and then a red, a blue, a missing circle, and a yellow, probably green. And it's in the same order as the Jalud code from the first video, red, blue, green, yellow. And this symbol up here stands for Neyyah. It kind of looks like two Ys, and Neyyah does have two Ys in it, and then we have a bunch of dots. You can also think of it as like two human beings standing up with their arms, and then there's a severed head in the middle. I think that's obviously the correct interpretation. We could also think, okay, remember the Golorfiak mines? We saw that clock-looking symbol. You could take just the arm. It's not this arm. It's actually facing this way. This arm going down like so, and the head like that. But these other symbols don't make sense with that. It's just this part of it. Who knows? But it's an interesting symbol. But that stands for Neyyah. And then some mechanism. Looks like there's a guy here. That's the head, square head, and his blocky, PlayStation 1 body. I'm going to head back this way, and we see that opening now much more clearly from this angle. Let's head out. We could take a look at... Oh, we can't look up from here. Hold on. Let's go down and around this way. Can I look up from here? I was going to try to get a nice, good look at the Alopolite Tower. We can look at this device, which isn't on our map. It's not interactable, and it's not even like, oh, there's an interaction we can do in the future. Nothing's showing up for this. And we're not sure what it could do. It might be related to the use of the tower. Can I look at it from here? Not really. But there is a path going up this way. That's the path. I'm going to pull up the map again. That's the path here, the Harbor Bridge. And then this right here is it's just an entire device that's there. It looks like it could be a tunnel. And I can see something there. It's kind of small even on my big screen right now, so you might not know what this is. That's okay. We'll get a closer look at this someday. It kind of looks like a cart there, and then not sure what that is. Could be. It's a step. It's a step ladder up to something, and then that's the watchtower here. There's another tower behind it that we can't reach, and some kind of beacon there. This is the diverter tower. There's a pathway that leads to it. And it's all very interesting, but I actually am not super interested in visiting that on this video. We will come back to this area later when we have more stuff to do. Another portal we'll be heading to soon. And then up here, I'm going to be honest, this stuff is really, really easy to miss because we don't really have a node that looks directly at us. Let's turn back around. So here, it's kind of hard to tell. There's a platform here we can stand on. So when we go here, suddenly we've moved far enough that we don't see that platform anymore, so it's very easy to not realize that I can turn this direction and stand on that platform by pressing this button. And this takes us to the Lariti Gun Tower. Let's head on in. We've got an elevator with 2 buttons. Let's start by going up to the top and see what this looks like. So here is the viewport, which, let's see, we got a strap. These are where you'd hold guns. So you'd sit in the chair, you'd put the gun in the strap, and you'd face out the window. And you'd see out there. So here's the Alopolite Tower, which would release a shield to prevent, whatever the attack is, and you have the guns to fire down. The current arrangement of this doesn't look like it's really easy to see. Like, if you were sitting in this chair and trying to fire out, you'd be firing wildly into the air. You'd want to get nice and close to these edges and lean a little bit out with the gun in order to do anything. So perhaps these straps can move, because if I were to be seated here firing, I would hit fuck all. That's what would happen. This is a little more like it. We've got the sniper rifle set up with the Zaloom Took or the Toluke, whichever one it is. It still seems like it's a bit far away from the edge, you know what I mean? Like, I would want my face to be right up against this window so I could point the rifle downward. So I imagine this thing moves, but it is on rails, so we can move side to side. Not a lot of range to cover here, but the idea is to protect the people inside the building from being fired upon. So I imagine a lot of this stuff would move. We can't really do it. This stuff has not been used in a very, very long time. And in fact, there is nothing we can do here except examine the gun tower and just see how it's put together. Yeah, this stuff is all broken off, so it would not be used in the condition it's in. You'd have to move this stuff around. But this would be where the Fazaltans would mobilize when they were under attack. They'd get all their guns, they'd put them in the straps and use them as sniper rifles to take out Alopolites from high up. Let's head down to the lower level now, see what we can find. Well, the elevator is a little dodgy. Creepy music happens. Let's head in here, see what we got. Got another holster, I guess, for Taluk. And we can look out of our prison cell cage. That's what this feels like. There's, I believe, so that's the pipe leading to diverter tower. That's not diverter tower, so that's going to be a binocular tower. Anything else on this screen to look at? I don't think so. Let's turn around. We see some ammunition here. Yeah, that's what that is. We got some bullets. This one is not missing. It's right here. Those are very big bullets. So yeah, the guns, the sniper rifle guns here are meant to take out some big foes. Can I look at these boxes? No, but I can look at this note, which is going to require the salt trick. Neyyah, I am writing this to let you know I have managed to secure the camera signal codes within the transportation towers on Galorfiak Mines and Penorvia Point, and to remind you that the camera signals are all activated at the Scarlatti Towers. As you are aware, the transportation towers contain crucial keys to the activation of the Mayorta gas system at the Lodvik Tower on Neyyah Pools, and essentially activating the secret portal back to Olajay in case you require an alternative means of traveling home without a Jalud. Also, thank you for returning the old Taluk bullet cases to this room and understanding an old fool's dream and wanting to restore a sense of peace to this desolated land. It did take a while to collect all the bullets, but alas, I got there in the end. Okay, so the bullet thing is just, he wants to preserve, you know, like a museum, so he found all the bullets, put them back in, because he's, I guess, a little OCD. And then the rest of this is actually important information on finishing the game that we don't need to read this note to learn, but it's nice to see it all placed in one note. So the transportation towers were mentioned in the emergency document, the transcript, as one of those like little blips that was cut off. Something about changing on the transportation towers. Here, let's pull it up again. Change locations of the transportation towers. Probably not like physically moving the towers. Change locations of something in them or something related to them. It'd be really funny if it was actually move the towers. I can read it this way. Yeah, so it's camera signal codes within those towers. The towers themselves, one is in the Galorfiak Mines and one is at Penorvia Point. We haven't been there yet, but we'll get there eventually. And the camera signals are all activated at Scarlatti Towers. So step 1, Scarlatti Towers, activate camera signals. Step 2, do something with codes in these 2 locations. And those towers contain crucial keys to the activation of the Mayorta gas system at the Lodvik Tower. That's the last step, Neyyah Pools, which gives us the secret portal back to Olajay. So, some instructions on what to do for later. It's nice that it's here. Otherwise, the Liberty Gun Tower is completely unhelpful to finishing the game. It's just that one note, which technically is not required. We got some more ammunition in here. This is, I guess, shell casings? Something like that? I'm guessing. Looks like there's a passageway in here, but we can't go that way. There's more. These are huge bullet shells. These are for like cannon fire, not for handheld weapons. Fantastic. And let's head back down. Such an odd elevator. We also see a tower out here, which is not on our map, but it seems to have some crystals on the top of it, just barely visible here, as well as a triangle on the top with some red lights on it. We can't reach the tower from here, but let's just remember that this is here, because it'll come in handy later. And then down here we have this device, which we saw the drawing of in Vermeer's secret office. This is a Lavandus crystal furnace. You can open it up and open up this thing, but we can't actually do anything else with this because we don't have a Lavandus crystal, and we won't have one. The game is not asking for an inventory item here. This is just the furnace. This is where you put a Lavandus crystal. Apparently, Lavandus crystals are fuel in some way, because what else would you use a furnace for? Not sure what it's providing. Perhaps it powers the structure, or maybe it's a heating device, something like that. But if we had a Lavandus crystal, this is where we would put it. Alright, let's head out this way. Let's check out a bit of stuff here. I'm not going to check out too much because I do want to save most of this for later. But let's go up into one of these binocular towers. Out here, we have some kind of device we can't interact with. And it doesn't look like binoculars. We're on a binocular tower, according to the map. But if there were ever binoculars here, they've been removed. It's just scrap metal as far as we're concerned. You can take a look over at the Loridi gun tower again. Well, the Lavandus crystal furnace is going to be useless because it's not even connected to the tower anymore. So, yeah, that's not a thing we can do. We can also see that portal over there again. It's a strange one. It's not a portal we've seen before. It's connected to whatever this is, if we look at our map again. This area, this tunnel, has a path coming out leading to two different portals, and the strange one is this portal. Yeah, that's the Binoxi Eye portal there. It's not super visible in this shot, but it's there. So then that's the Elapolite tower here, and this is the Diverter tower. Can we get a good look at Diverter tower from here? Not really. Maybe looking down. That's a better look. So there's a platform of some kind right there, and a walkway up to it. And then it looks like there's an opening at the top. We can't really get in the bottom, it's barred off, but there's something up there at the top. Let's see, anything else we can see down there? Not really. There's another tower over here. We can't get to that one. Don't worry about it. Strangely enough, inside this area of the binocular tower, we can make a 90-degree turn and look at the wall. And we can look at the other wall as well. It's nice, I guess, but there's actually nothing to see on either side here. It's just extra nodes. The other binocular tower is going to be much the same, but let's head up anyway, because I like looking at things. Might get a better view of some stuff around the harbor zone. And we actually have a set of binoculars here. We can't look through it, for some reason. It's not active at all. But if we look a little closer at the diverter tower, we've got pipes coming out of the sides. And if you follow those pipes lead to the binocular towers. So this pipe is going to lead to this binocular here in some way or another. So this tower is meant to power these binoculars at some point. We also see a portal over here. I mean, I see it because my eyesight is just amazing, you guys. If we look at the map, it's this one right here. And we have a pipe coming out, down, connecting to something over here. It's not really possible to see from this shot. Some more stuff that we can't reach on the far end of the harbor zone. And there's that tower with the crystals on top. A slightly better, well, it's a closer view, so we can make out a little more what it is. Definitely a triangle at the top with 3 red dots. That's what it is. Awesome. And from here, I'm going to leave the harbor zone. And I'm going to make my way back to, well, where we came from. So this view should look somewhat familiar. That tower there is what we entered. There was a portal at the top to get to the dome zone. We boarded the Binoxi craft. So we're heading back to the Gafunkia zone by going this way. Indeed. That's the portal to the dome zone. I don't know what that's doing. There's a black thing in the sky. So yeah, this portal that was here we couldn't enter before would take you back to the harbor zone. That's that's the Alopolite shield, the diverter tower in front of it, and the binocular towers. Neat. So let's check out a few things on the way back. I'm going to essentially be making my way all the way back to the starting area. There's something that's pretty easy to miss here. In fact, when I first discovered it, it was almost on accident. So you can walk straight or you can walk to the right, which seems impossible because there's not a path to the right. And our character's not going to like commit suicide by jumping off into the water or anything. So what's going to happen is we can go here and we can look at the mushroom and zoom in and see a spore or a set of spores that we can pick up. Mushroom spores. And our only hint for this is back in the book of Flora and Fauna that we read, talking about how Gefunky mushroom spores grow on the tops of the mushrooms and contain spores which can be used to generate light. So if you're looking for the spores, this is the only Gefunky mushroom that we have access to the top of to get those spores. There's another clue later on that will point us in this direction, but I don't want to have to go all the way there and come back. I would rather just do this here. If we wanted to get back to the dome zone, there's no Binoxy craft here, so we'd either have to go the long way back through all the portals, or we would call the craft by pressing this button. I don't want to go to the dome zone right now. We could do something there, but I want to wait till I've learned a bit more information, just so I don't have to make multiple trips. Let's check out this beach again, because we now have that map developments book which says we should open the rock. And the rock in particular is this one right here. The drawing was of this view in Mason's journal. Mason was the one the map developments book was written for. Vermeer's journal has a drawing of this rock. And then the map developments book says open the rock. Now we can't open the rock directly. It actually says to go further in all the way here. If we remember the book, we want to be in this spot where we're standing now, and then open the rock that's back here using something, and there's a drawing of the warlat flower here. And warlat flowers are the ones that grow on the beaches, close to shorelines. It doesn't tell you what they look like, specifically like, oh, here's the color of the flower, but we can just look around and see some warlat flowers. It could be these, but it's not. It could be those, but it's not. It's actually these right here. Those are warlat flowers. So this is a moment, I will just say, like my first rage quit moment because, all right, I'm pressing spacebar here. You notice that there's nothing to interact with. And so when I was looking for a way to open the rock, I could not for the life of me find what to click on. You're supposed to click down here. And this is so easy to miss, in fact, that there are loads of people asking this question online who are trying to figure out this puzzle. So it's not exactly obvious to everyone. It does feel a bit pixel hunting. I mean, you can see that there's warlat flowers here, I guess, but otherwise it does feel like you have to randomly click around until you find the spot. So I would not blame you if you got really mad at this part of the game. But we want to zoom in here. Lift that rock. And there's a button we can press. And now it opens the rock. This rock will be open forever. We don't have to ever have to press this button again. We're done with that. And in the rock, we see a passageway, which I'm going to head down because why not? And we're now inside a secret underground tunnel. Looks like an underground minecart system. That's what that looks like over there, but we'll get a closer look later. We got a bunch of pictures here as well. So I've got a drawing or a sketch or some kind of thing of one of the masks with the eyes. These eyes are pointed in like this, I guess you could say. The angry eyes. And then there's writing here that we can't read at the moment. We don't know enough Galahanti to read that. We got some more. These are the eyes kind of facing out, the sad eyes mask with more stuff to read. And behind us, we can actually see the other two masks. We have the eyes facing down, something being said there, and the eyes facing up. with another word. My guess is the word is like the name of the mask or the type of mask. They're all different words, so possibly the name. Each mask has a different name, or it's the name of the person who wears the mask, possibly. Something associated with it. And on the other walls, we have some drawings with all the masks. So we have the 4 masks here. Got eyes down, up, in, and out. This is the order in Vamir's secret office, as well as the order for the password we used to open the portals. So there must be something special about that. We've got a new symbol here, not super familiar with. Almost looks like a razor blade here with a cap on. Looks like a minecart. Some kind of orb with like sun flares, or maybe those are supposed to be rays of light or plant leaves. If we could read this, that would be helpful. It seems like a lot going on in that, but we'll have to come back once we know how to read the Galahanti. We've got another drawing here of a big mask with a bigger mask on top. Some towers. There's that symbol that was on the thing behind. Almost looks like this could be a snake. Perhaps more towers. The Neyyah symbol. And then the masks down here. They're quite small, but we see that the triangles down, triangles up, pointed in, angry eyebrows, pointed out, sad eyebrows. They are also colored. This one's colored red, this is blue, this is green, and this is yellow. That's the same color combination we've seen for the Jalud code, as well as the one other thing that I've already forgotten. So we can associate now these triangles with those colors. So the down triangle could be red, and the up triangle is blue. These triangles, whatever, I can say the inward triangles are green, the outward triangles are yellow. And there's a bunch more text here we can't read. Let's head in and see if this minecart will be useful to us. Let's go around. And the answer is yes, it's powered. So we just went through another Binoxi Eye portal, so we're going to be in a different zone entirely. The fun part is the game doesn't really trigger a lot of notes in our journey tools about this zone. Well, it does. It actually does. It triggers here, but it should be empty. Yeah, it's not going to do anything here. Click your observations. The only reason I know we're at the Lavandis zone is that we were at the Gafungus, so we're not there. We've been to the Dome, Harbor, and Paida Factory zone. We've never been to the Lavandis zone, so the fact that this has shown up, that's our hint that that's where we are. So it's interesting the game will just tell you that before you actually find any confirmation. We can also look at the map. Oh, it still says we're in Gafunky zone. Interesting. The game is rather confused. Let's head out a little bit. Maybe the map will actually tell us where we are. Eventually it will. I want to get to that point so we can take a look. So we're going to go through the tunnel. We're going to come out. And that's that. So now does the map tell us where we are? Felitsu Island. Lavandis zone. Thank you. So, hatch. This is the hatch that leads to the underground thing, which has a teleport back to Gafunky zone. So we've got a rail track over here and a portal with a signal tower, microphones, a viewpoint, a cart station, an old bunker, and a signal chamber. I think there was something we just read about. We read about signal towers, not sure about microphones, cavern entrance, and water tank. Water tank is important because we read about that with the Mahili portal at the beginning of this video. Was it this video? No, it wasn't. It was the last video. I don't remember. And then an old gun tower. We're not going to get over there. There's no way over there. Don't worry about that. But we're here on the beach. We can take a look at the rail. Yeah, the rail cart here. Track, as well as the signal tower in the back. Do we get a better look over here, maybe? Not really. But now we see this symbol out in the water. And this one isn't the TI symbol. It's just that. Although there is a TI here and a pipe coming out. So what we can gather from that is the Felitsu Dome has a pipe running from the dome to this symbol out in the water where there is an underwater portal. Then there's a portal under the water here that takes the pipe all the way. to this, which must be the water tank that we drained to find the Mahili portal. Yeah, we can see it's full of water. And we can't open it. Because the game is like, what a bozo move. Don't open that. And we see some kind of blue here. Maybe that's full of water. Because we can't read that. And we know these are numbers. We're not totally sure. This must be number 1. So, you know, the lowest number. And this it could be 1, 5, 10. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. This could easily be 10. But it's full of water. We can also see another pipe extending from the top of the door. And this pipe is leading to some device at the top, which is not the pump. This is the pump. That's a different thing. Oops, I was trying to show a good view of the pump pipe, but we can't do it from here. Let's go back around. Look up. So the pump pipe is can't follow it from here. Let me back up. Another problem with node-based. This pump pipe is going into the wall there. So this is a different pipe. This pipe deals with pumping water in and out of the tank. And if we want to get in the tank, it needs to not be full of water. I mean, nothing says we can't just open the door and let water flow out, but perhaps it would keep funneling water in, and we don't really want that. This other pipe here is something else entirely, and it's connected to something at the top. So it is unlikely that this pump pipe is directly related to this one. So perhaps this pipe is also related to something we need to do to open this door. Which would mean we need to do 2 things. We need to drain the tank by doing this pipe, and then we need to do something up there. But we can't actually get up there from down here. We have to find another way. Then there's this path right here, taking us around back to the cave entrance. So there's the old gun tower. We're not going to go there. The cave entrance, that's here. There's also, if you remember from Vermeer's journal, because of course you do, you remember everything we've done. There's also a special thing we can look at here. Another Pelska portal location. Then there's this symbol again. We just saw it a moment ago on the murals or whatever in the underground tunnel. This sort of razor blade looking symbol. We want to remember this. This door is openable from the bottom. There's also a script up there that we can't read, so I'm not going to worry about it this second. Let's head on in. Observe all the bugs. Oh. Eyeballs. Somebody's watching us. Alright, there seems to be a portal in here that we cannot approach, because as I get close, you see that there is a crack in the walkway, so we can't walk over it. And the portal looks busted as well. Does not look like it's in working order. That is in fact true. Sorry to spoil it. This portal doesn't work. We can't actually even get to the central island, which is too bad. I wish we could. It seems like there's multiple extra walkways in here. But that's not going to happen. Wherever this portal would normally take us, it's not working. So let's go around. We got some murals along the walls we can look at that we can't read. Again, everything's written in Galahanti here. So this picture here depicts some kind of machinery, that's for sure. We got a mask. Here, this is the eyes pointed in, which was the green mask. Not sure if that's relevant. You got crystals being used for something. You got 4 colored circles, red, blue, green, yellow. That's the order. Then you got red, blue, green, yellow. You got the boxes stacked up on top of each other, which is similar to the squares on the Paidas. Like this. And red is always top, then blue, then green, then yellow. That order is always preserved. Got people on boats who are pointing in. They're going in to a place. Interesting enough. Not sure what it is yet. We will discover what that is, or from some other things we'll be able to tell what that picture is depicting. Picture number 2. Huh, this looks like the gun tower. There's the Alopolite shield. And there's that tower with the crystals on it in the triangle with the red dots. So this is depicting the harbor zone. So people are flowing in with circles like this, red, blue, green, and yellow. We've got a portal there. There's the 4 masks. What this might be is the old Chianti Hall that was mentioned, because the Chianti Hall's gone and has been replaced with the old guard tower, I believe, and then that old guard tower was teleported away, if I remember correctly. It'd be nice if I had just written that down to be easier to refer to instead of having to see if I can remember all the lore at once. But I think that's what that could be. We've got the 4 masks here. So I guess these people are transporting these circles. Perhaps to Chianti Hall. Seems like they're bringing it in. Now, we'd know directly what those circles are if we could read the Galahanti. Otherwise, we could guess. The only other circles we're dealing with in these colors are paidas, so perhaps this is related to the production of paidas. So we've got the 4 triangles here, joined together to form this symbol, which we're still not totally sure what it signifies. The note on the door to the Lab HQ, when we had to do that code way back when, this symbol was in the center of 4 areas, so perhaps this symbolizes a central area we have yet to go to. And the triangles are colored appropriately. Red for down, blue for up, the green for the inward, which is this one, and the yellow for the outward, which is that one. Red, blue, green, yellow. There's some kind of building here. This perhaps is the Paida factory. There's the pier. There's the pier tower. And so there's the Alopolite shield. This is, I do not know. That's from the first picture, and this would be the old guard tower, maybe? No, this might be a place we haven't been to. Perhaps that is also a place we haven't been to. No, this could be the old guard tower. That seems right, with the 2 things like it showed in the harbor zone. Actually, what this could be... So we have the triangles that each represent the 4 masks. We could be... if this represents the central area, these each represent a different area. So Old Guard Tower would be Galorfiak Mines, and the Alopolite Shield would be the harbor. So then we would need to do... I don't know what these... We haven't been to these other 2 areas yet, so never mind. I mean, I do know because I've played the game before, but we don't know from the perspective of someone just playing the game for the first time. And the last image over here shows... There's the triangles with their colors, so it makes it really obvious. This triangle facing down is red, blue. This is green. Kind of hard to tell from here. Colorblind mode will be your friend. Yellow. You got 4 dudes... people wearing masks. You got that central triangle symbol. Looks like a portal. There's the squares for the Paida colors. Huh. This one's a little bit harder to make out without being able to read the Galahanti underneath. So there could be some interesting lore here if we're able to read Galahanti and return. Otherwise, that's that. That's all we can really do here in the Lavandis zone for now. The other ways in are going to have to be portals over there. So we don't really get good looks at this here. Yeah, I'll head back this way. Maybe we can get a better look. Yeah. So there's this portal that leads to a rail track. Now, we did see a rail track heading to a portal in the Gafunky zone, and it led to a tower that looked exactly like this. So it's quite possible if we activate that cart, we could arrive here. We also have a tower over here leading to a portal that's on its own. This is the signal tower, which is, I guess, important. It's not the signal tower that's mentioned in the note we found at the bottom of the Liberty Gun Tower. But it is something else for sure. Let's head back. Armed with the knowledge that we went here for nothing. It's not quite true. We did learn some things about what we need to do, but we were unable to actually make sufficient progress. Alright, back to the Gafunky Zone. And to the start of the game. See if there's anything else on the way that we can explore, actually, now that I think about it. Someplace we haven't been yet. Pretty sure no. I'm pretty sure we've seen what we can see in this area in the Felitsu Island. Actually, there's one more thing. I was trying to think. There's one more. Oh, hold on. Talabrook birds. One more thing. I'm trying to think. Felitsu Island. What do I want to cover? There's one more area I want to look at before we start solving puzzles in Felitsu Island. And that's the portal up here. We're now able to go in this portal. So let's do it. See where it leads us. And it gives us an image of a tower in the middle of nowhere. When we head inside, we get a better view. We see a rail cart track here. Yep, with that thing, so we must be in the Lavandis zone. And we are. We made it to this portal. So we were here, we looked out, we saw the portal with the rail track. We're now at the portal with the signal tower. Seems to be the only way to access the signal tower. Doesn't seem like very efficient route planning. Like, if I were designing this, you know, having to make it so the only way to this location is to leave and then come back through another portal. Does seem rather inefficient, but at the same time, Vamir is trying to hide stuff, so this is one way to go about doing so. Let's see what we got. Oh. Nice. So we got a scope we can look through. And it's pointed at an island with some dangly, cranes with dangly things and some kind of sensor at the top. It's got a pipe leading in there. And we can check our map. It's actually going to tell us exactly what we're looking at. We're looking at this island here. That's the direction we're facing. That's what's got these buildings on it. It can't be anything else we're looking at here. It's just a small island. So we're looking at microphones. So these must be microphones here. Not sure what this big guy is. We've got a button, which does nothing. A panel that is not interactable. Not even with the inventory symbol. There's nothing we can interact with here. And on this readout, it says Lavandis frequency system status waiting for microphone signals. So what we're doing here, we got a machine that is pointed directly at the island with microphones, and it's waiting for those microphones to send, I guess, a sound, a frequency, to this display. So we're going to need to find a way to the microphones. Ooh, we got crazy looking dragons here. So these are going to be sculptures of the Banaxi. This is a good clue that what we're in is designed by an Ologerian and not a Fazaltian. And there's that symbol at the top, the one that was in the wastebasket at the office. So perhaps that is the Ologerian symbol. And yeah, so you see, if you see the Banaxi on it, it was made by Ologe, not Fazalta. Ultimately, we can't do anything else here at the microphone tower. We're just waiting for microphone signals. So let's head back to the Gafunky Zone, back where we started. And there we go. Okay, now we've really taken care of everything we can in exploring Felitsu Island, at least for the time being. So I'm actually going to stop the video. I'm going to get through the heater service here to the Valorian portal here, and we'll explore in the next video what's beyond the portal. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching. Hope you're all having a good day, and I will see you then. Goodbye.